Here we go. We are going live. Let us make sure that live is working. I sure hope that it is, and we're working right out of the gate, but you never know. So let me just go over to the Publish, Promote, Profit Book Challenge site. And what do you know? It looks like we're live. Hot dog, it's working on a Sunday. Welcome, everybody. Excited about being with you today. So whether you're watching this as a recording or you're watching this live, it is great to have you here on a Sunday. So let me just make sure that I have everything ready to go. Give me just a moment, and then I will start sharing my screen with you. Looks like a ton of the VIPs are on, which is great. I have Amy on with us, our special guest as well. Hi, Amy. Good to see you. Thank you so much for giving me and all of us a Sunday. Great to have you. I'm so excited about my idea. I can't wait to share it with you. I am. I'm like, oh my gosh. I actually almost said, hey, jump on early and let's talk, but I have so much to do. So anyway, people on Facebook are watching and they don't know what the heck I'm talking about. But anyway, so excited to be with you today. Why don't we go ahead and get this show on the road, because there's a lot to teach. Welcome, everybody. Rob Kosberg here with Bestseller Publishing. Excited to be with you for our Sunday edition. Today is Challenge Day 6. This is the BSP $1 Million Author Plan, Part 1. Part 1 is specifically, we're going to be speaking about speaking. And that is going to be using speaking engagements and many, many different facets of speaking engagements to make $1 million, to grow a $1 million business via speaking. So let me go ahead and share my screen, and let's jump on the PowerPoint without further ado. And let's go through this together. I do have a guest with us today, Amy Dix, who has become a great friend. She's a neighbor, sort of, although we haven't seen each other. She lives in Jacksonville Beach, and I live in St. Augustine, which is like 45 minutes apart or so. And she's a past client of BSP, and she actually is a fantastic businesswoman, a branding expert, and she actually works with our BSP clients on a lot of the project management stuff, which is really, really cool. So some of you may actually be working directly with Amy with some of your work. So you will love, 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 love Amy. So again, Publish, Promote, Profit. This is day 6. And as I said to you, day 6 is the BSP $1 Million Author Strategy. This is part 1. Part 1 strategy that we're going to be talking about is using your best-selling book to get speaking engagements. There's lots of different kinds of speaking engagements, and so there's a lot to talk about, not to mention that we're going to be sharing about how you get speaking engagements. We're going to be talking about finding opportunities and, of course, monetizing your speaking engagement, which there are multiple ways to actually do that. So I'll share more about that in a moment. We have the book design and publishing package to give away today. And for those of you that did homework, and a bunch of you turned your homework in, so congratulations. I have a bunch of VIPs homework and little mini hot seats to do with you. Yesterday was a fun day because we focused on PR and media, and a bunch of you turned in what you thought your hooks would be. It's amazing how many of you had as your hook COVID-19. I gave that as a suggestion, and everybody just kind of, took it to heart and ran with it. So I'm going to give you a little bit of feedback on that and do a little sharing. But without further ado, our winner of the prize is Terry Halstead. Terry Halstead, actually, I understand Terry lives in Daytona Beach, Florida, which is about an hour from me. So Terry, congratulations. I sure hope you're on a Sunday. It is just afternoon, 12:05 for you, because we're East Coast time. So you absolutely should be on, and I hope that you are, because Bob is on, probably Austin is on as well in the Facebook group. If you guys could post Terry's name, copy her in the comments section. And Terry, you need to accept the prize. Please do that in the next 30 minutes. If not, then we're going to go back in and have to pick somebody else. And I hate to do that to you, but you have to be present to win. Okay. So also, we have one more major prize to give away. I know many of you are extremely interested in this. And all of you are believing that God, the universe, whatever, is going to bless you with this. Beth is nodding her head. Yes, Beth. I know many of us feel that way, and I certainly hope it will be you. But it will be somebody, and that is going to be our full guaranteed done for you bestseller launch. This is a $10,000 value. What we will be doing is we will be taking your fully completed, edited, proofread, and ready to go manuscript. We will be doing the design work, the publishing work. We will then do the full launch. So the last 2 days I taught on our BSP launch strategy that launched 1,000 best-selling books. And that launch strategy is what we're going to be doing for you. We're going to be doing the paid advertising on 60 to 70 different websites. We will write the ads, place the ads, pay for the ads. You don't have to come out of pocket with a dime. We're also going to write 3 US-based press releases for you. Same thing, write them, place them, pay for them, all that going to be done, as well as a social media campaign. We will also help you and guide you with getting your Amazon 5-star reviews. All of this will take probably 2 months of my team working with you and on your book. This is a $10,000 value, and we're going to be giving it away to one of you. Here's the one thing I don't know. I'm going to tell you right now that we're going to give it away tomorrow, but it may be given away on Tuesday. I haven't done this before. Please don't hate me. I am giving you something. So why am I saying that? Because here's the thing. Those of you that do your homework, and if we back it up to Tuesday, it's going to be because I have a special guest and because I have some special things that I want to share with you on Monday that then back us up to Tuesday. If not, then we will do the full giveaway tomorrow. But here's what I will tell you. I will be giving you homework, and all of those that do the homework, and there will be extra credit homework. If I don't give it away on Monday and I give it away on Tuesday, then all of your homework will still count. So what we will have is we will have all of you that do homework on Monday and all of you that do homework on Tuesday, and all those thrown in the pot. So you might have 2 or 3 or 4, depending on extra credit that I give you, opportunities to win. So you may actually have more opportunities to win if I back it up to Tuesday. Okay. So you don't hate me now, right? So I'm going to tell you right now, the giveaway is going to be tomorrow, but I'm trying to finagle some things and work some things. And it may just be that the giveaway is on Tuesday. If it is on Tuesday, then again, all of you that do your homework, all of that homework will count as an entry into this. Is that fair? Is that okay? Do me a favor, comment below. If you comment hate, then I get it. I get hate all the time on Facebook, so there is that. But if you comment love, I'd appreciate that. So that is what is going to happen. Remember, none of you will lose your opportunity. It's either going to be tomorrow or it's going to be on Tuesday. Okay, homework review. Let's dive in to the homework review without further ado. Let's see. I have a bunch of the VIPs to do some homework review on. So I just picked 5 or 6 of you out of the, 15 or 20 that I got. I tried to pick those that I didn't review in the past. So remember, just as a reminder, what was the homework? The homework was, I wanted to know what your monetization model for PR was going to be. In other words, how did you want to use your PR? Some of you said, I want to use it in all the different ways. I know that, but you got to start somewhere. So I'm asking, where are you going to start with your monetization model for PR? And then I also asked, okay, tell me about your hook. So let's start with Luba. Luba's homework, her monetization model for PR. She wants to use her book to land radio and podcasts, which is fantastic. Just so I say it, I did as a brief note yesterday, I mentioned to you that I make more money, like I get more clients from podcasts than anything else, than television that I've done, than radio that I've done. And so my primary strategy for my business and me personally, because guess what? I still do media and PR on a regular ongoing basis. Now I have 3 full-time publicists that do some booking for me, but also there's so much momentum with podcast that all I do right now are podcasts. And I generally do about 3 podcasts a month where I'm being invited to be on a podcast. And that is my personal primary strategy, is using my book for PR and getting on podcasts. So Luba wants you to use a book, get on radio and podcast, and offer a copy of the book with a free plus shipping funnel. It's great. Fantastic. That's exactly what I do. Works like gangbusters. I chose that model because it seems like the path of least resistance under the current COVID-19 social distancing conditions, access to people by radio. So that is true, Luba, but here's what is not true about that statement. Building a free plus shipping funnel is not easy to do. And so either you're going to figure it out yourself to build it, which is going to take you weeks, if not months, and you may give up because it's difficult, or you're going to pay someone to do it. Okay. So just so I say that it is not easy. So yes, it is the path of least resistance. And, you know, I personally think all authors should have some type of website funnel, whether it's a simple one or a more complicated free plus shipping one. We do have an offer where we help our authors after they've gone through the process to build out their funnel. It's actually something that Amy works with us on, and she's exceptional at it. So if you're interested in that, if anybody is, we can certainly help you with that. I just want to mention it's not necessarily the path of least resistance, because building that funnel is not easy. And then specific hooks, basically you actually gave me some feedback on hooks for both local, timely, and celebrity, which is great. You do want to have more hooks, not less. So local, you said due to COVID, bottom dropped out of the economy, businesses closed, people lost jobs. And you want to share how a woman over 60 on disability regained her physical, emotional, and financial health during COVID. Just as a reminder, the local hook is about your local marketplace. Okay. So you didn't say anything about your local marketplace. So my local marketplace would be, say, Jacksonville, right? Because I'm in St. Augustine, but the nearest big city is Jacksonville. So I would, if I were to use a local hook, I could talk about COVID and how because of COVID, I literally moved my family across the country, came to my home on the water here in St. Augustine, because in California, they closed my office and none of us were able to meet together anymore. So we do Zoom calls every day, which actually works fantastic and works better than ever. And so I would probably say my local hook would be to the local Jacksonville press, basically saying, because of COVID, I moved my whole family and my business headquarters to St. Augustine, Florida. And that would be my hook, right? I would talk about my local business in St. Augustine due to COVID. So you don't have a local hook in there, right? All you're saying is COVID. And that's actually what you said in each one of these cases, timely and celebrity as well. So here's what the general comments that I'm going to give you, Luba, is that you need to be more specific. A hook is a very specific thing. It's not due to COVID, people lost their jobs. Yes, everyone knows that, but how does that tie in specifically with your topic, right? So if your topic is about how, you know, being a person over 60 on disability actually made a comeback during COVID, and grew a business during COVID, then your hook needs to be more specific, right? It needs to be something along the lines of, you know, people over 60 are losing their jobs at a higher rate. And statistics tell us they're probably never going to get those jobs back. And I can show those people how they can actually start a business over 60 and be more successful because of COVID than they were in their previous job. Do you guys smell what I'm cooking there? Do you get? So you got to be really specific about what the hook is. It's not enough to tell me your story and then to tell me about COVID and say that those things connect. No, you need to make them connect in some kind of way. Okay. So there you go. Luba, hope that is helpful. Anita, let's see here. Anita says, Rob, regarding your first question about monetization, I do want to write a book. I'm not 100% sure which of all of your slides was the monetization models, assuming it was the one that had tribe building in it. Yes, tribe building was one of the models. And since you gave tribe building as an example, here's my answer. The monetization model I would use to sell my book would be more than just one method. I would start with number one, selling for credibility and awareness. Excellent. Next, I would use number three, repurposing that the PR and media across multiple social media platforms and sites, followed by number four, PR to direct viewers to my sales funnel. Excellent. Great. Now, I did ask you why. So, I'd probably want to know. You didn't actually tell me why those would be good, but great. You're picking it out, which ones seem to fit best for you. What's my hook to sell my book? It wasn't so much to sell your book. The hook was to get on TV, to get on radio, to get PR. So when I talked about creating a timely hook, celebrity hook, local hook, it was about getting on media. So here's the best thing I can think of: racism or respectfulness. If you were accused of one of these, which one would it be? Would there be enough evidence in your life to be convicted? Hopefully creating respectful, or racism, running away from the problem. So here's what I'm going to say about that. That's actually a great hook. It's a great hook because of the division that we see right now in the country. There was a show, and I think it's still on, that where actors would come in and do something like really crazy to see how people respond. So it would be like a parent berating their child, or something like that, just to see, or somebody like bullying somebody else, to see how people would respond. And the reason that I bring that up is because that is a topic. Racism is certainly a topic in America right now because of what's going on. So that is a very timely hook. However, you need to create more around that, right? Like tell me what your hook is about that, right? Racism or respectfulness. Okay, so are you telling me that those are the only two options that I have? Like a hook can be something that's controversial. Like it could be, for example, you say something like, the racism test. And I am making this up right now. Okay. Just so some of the stuff I say may be terrible, so please don't use it, but I'm trying to give you an idea of how those in the media, they want to be captured, right? They want to be hooked, and just saying racism or respectfulness doesn't hook, right? There needs to be something that makes them go, whoa, that sounds interesting. Let me see a little bit more. So if you had something like, again, making it up on the fly, the racism test, the three questions that absolutely guarantee to determine whether you're a racist or not in a divided America. Now you got, what I need to know what those three questions are, right? The producer needs to know what those three questions are. Now there may not be three questions, right? I'm making it up. But the point is, it's a hook. It grabs the attention of the producer and will get them reading more than someone just saying, are you a racist or respectful? But that is a very, very timely topic. So good job on the timeliness of the topic. Beth, let's see what Beth has. Beth says, money with media is going to be credibility and awareness. I intend to write several best-selling as well as produce online courses. Fantastic. My goal is to also have them published in multiple languages. Also great. Therefore, the best strategy for now is to fortify my credibility and raise awareness as an author and a coach within my target market. Excellent. Good. So you're going to build your platform. You're going to attract people to you to see that you're the expert, because you're not just a best-selling author, but you're the best-selling author that was featured on ABC, NBC, CBS, Entrepreneur Magazine, USA Today, the Wall Street Journal, blah, 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 right? That's what I do. Audience hook, timely. And you're using the COVID idea. So key updates from the CDC reflect a decline in COVID-19 related deaths, but still remains above the epidemic threshold. It's no secret that the global pandemic has shifted the world into a new normal on several fronts. My best-selling book illuminates one of the most meaningful life lessons that the global pandemic has taught, which is the value and our urgent need of the commodities that money can't buy. Now, good, but too vague. Be specific with me about the commodities that money can't buy. So here's what I mean. And Dr. Allen, I'm going to do yours in a minute. Yours, I have a cool hook for yours. I could use it in this one, but I'll use a different one. But one of the commodities that money can't buy are relationships, right? Family, friendships, etc. And so, if you had a hook that said that, due to COVID, depression is up 28%. By the way, I don't know that that's a real stat, but I have read that, like suicide is up, depression is up, right? Like people not being able to hug and have more face-to-face relationships has caused all kinds of additional stress. If you connect those things, right, specifically, don't tell me about commodities that money can't buy. Give me the best one, right? If your best one is the relationship between a husband and wife and how infidelity has increased due to COVID. I don't know that that's the case, of course, but like if you have a statistic or something, but marriage, there are more divorces or there's more stress or something, and how COVID may be on the decline, but on the incline is this commodity, this relationship that has crumbled because of all of the pandemic response. Right. So give me something specific is what I would ask of you, Beth. Don't tell me about commodities. That's too vague. Give me the best shot you got, like the biggest thing that you think would shock me and would make me go, oh my gosh, I didn't know that this pandemic response and people being stuck in their homes and not being able to have warm, relationships, et cetera, would cause so much damage. Judy. Good stuff here. Judy says, thanks, Rob. Looking forward to partnering with you and your team to reach the children of America. Love that. Judy's homework for Saturday night, which monetization model, pick one and why. So you are picking speaking and lots of PR online. I love it. You're going to love today then. Judy says, I love speaking, so I'd love to be on a lot of TV shows and interviews. I've done quite a few TV interviews and big stuff. CBS This Morning, Focus on the Family, Good Morning America. That's big time stuff. Congratulations. I mean, Good Morning America. Wow, that's big. I would also enjoy doing podcasts to specific audiences like parenting, mommy sites. Excellent. Topic is soft news, but it's an answer to a serious problem in our society. New generation of very badly behaved children and teens, the extreme being violence, looting, and rioting. This is good. This is a good hook. I would repurpose the interviews on my social media. Excellent. Love what you're doing there. So let's talk about the hook for media. Judy's book, The Bad Manners Monsters and the Kindness Keys. You could use a timely hook, and you go right to the timely hook of October 31st is Halloween. Wait a minute. I mean, you're telling me up here that the extreme case is violence, looting, and rioting. Let's be honest. What's on the news, even in October? If there's rioting in the streets, is that going to make the news? Or is somebody that wants to talk about Halloween, rioting is going to make the news? So what I would suggest, again, I mean, this stuff is a little controversial, but this is what the media wants to do. The media is interested in getting clicks. They're interested in getting eyeballs. And so if you're telling me that the extreme case, because this is a parenting thing, right? Your topic is really a parenting thing, bad manners, monsters, and the extreme case being, looting and rioting, you need to make a connection there. That's a great hook, right? Because that stuff is on the news. Now, it may be on Fox News a lot more than it's on CBS, ABC, or CNN, but it's still on the news. And so, you can get some opportunities by connecting how parenting and it could be as specific as bad manners, but I would broaden it a little bit to make it more about parenting and how, parenting is at the root of this. I don't know if you guys saw this, but there was a video that went like crazy viral back in 2016 or 17 when there was rioting. And it was this mom that had gone to like the riots, and her son, which was he was a grown man, or, 16, 17, 18 years old. And she goes there and she just blasts him. She is like, he's got like mask on and, had like, some kind of like club or something. And she goes and she just pulls him by the ear. I mean, like literally this mom is like, and you go, that's okay, mom. Way to go, mom. Right? Like let's straighten these kids out that, are getting out of control. And so, you could use something like that as a great hook, since you mention it. Okay. Since you mention it in there. So there's a thought for you there. All right. Dr. Allen. Dr. Allen says, and by the way, I did get your email. And yes, we will figure something out for you, Dr. Allen. We'll figure it out because some of you, I've known Dr. Allen for a while. He actually became a client some time ago. And, not everything got completed with your book. And I understand that because of your health issues and those kinds of things. And now things are great. So don't worry, we'll figure it out together. Dr. Allen, my monetization and model would be, the media makes the most sense. It's an opportunity to get my message in front of an ideal audience. It also makes sense because I signed on to the book writing program. And congratulations. By the way, a bunch of you did. Sylvia, Jerry, Marcus, Jackie, James, Judy, Jim, a lot of J's in there. Dr. Allen, Gail, Esty, of course. Welcome. Others of you signed up even just after I got this list. So let me congratulate you guys for getting the additional bonus discount and tell you, you're making a great decision. I'm excited about working with you and the team. So I know you filled out your form. So, give us 24 to 48 hours to get back to you. Anyway. Back to Dr. Allen. My media hook would be a hidden casualty of COVID-19 is the sex life of married couples following the deeper soulmate blueprint. So your book is going to have to do with, relationships and, this deeper soulmate blueprint. And I did not know that a hidden casualty of COVID-19 is sex between married couples. That's fantastic. What a great hook, right? Like, your specific hook could be something like, has COVID-19 destroyed your sex life? Right. And then you'd have to have a telling statistic, right? So hopefully there's some kind of statistic there that is from a third-party agency, but that's great. That's a great hook that gets people's attention, and obviously it needs to be true, but there needs to be a way to help people whose sex life has been affected by COVID-19. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Excellent. And last but not least, Deb says, monetization model would be a funnel. I don't like the way I experienced funnels in the past. Some feel like a maze while others repeatedly ask for money. I totally get that. And try to get you to click on offers by having a ton of pop-ups. Hate the pop-ups, but I do have a couple. So, just a pop-up here or there doesn't hurt. Believe me, if it didn't work, we wouldn't have pop-ups. If I were to do a funnel, I would redesign my current website or perhaps design a new one in such a way there wouldn't be any pop-ups, and it would be straightforward. Layout would be clear and easy to navigate. I picked the PR to funnel because I feel it would allow me to have multiple ways of generating income. For example, I would offer online spiritual coaching, speaking, and workshops. Excellent. Host my podcast on the website, 6-week course. Also have some free resources. Okay, great. So you're talking about driving them back to your website, which is, I think, a fantastic idea. Love what you have there. The only thing that I'm going to say, certainly there are cheesy funnels and funnels that, just make you feel a little icky, right? I get that. But don't let something like that turn you off from what are tried and true principles of online marketing and getting people to take action. Okay. You came through my funnel. You became a VIP. I had multiple upsells and downsells. These things just work, and don't throw the baby out with the bathwater is what I'm telling you to do. I shared with you guys, I think on the very first day, about Russell Brunson, my friend, the founder of ClickFunnels. And the very, very first time that he did a speaking engagement, he said a lot of the same things that you said. He said, hey, I'm not going to do all this bonus stacking, and I am just going to tell people my offer. And literally there were crickets, and not one person out of 1,000 bought. And he hid in his hotel room for the remainder of the conference. And if you watch Russell speak now, it's totally different. And some people might say that it can be a little bit cheesy because he offers all these bonuses, et cetera. But the guy is a multimillionaire, and he's serving a massive community and helping people. So be careful. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater there. Don't make it cheesy, but there are some principles that you need to stick to. Media hook, timely. I feel my book is for right now. It's definitely what the world is dealing with. People are in crisis mode and fear and uncertainty. Within 52, my story is interwoven, so it's not really about me. It's about the person who's reading it. I made sure I made that point. After 10 years as a government consultant, the bottom dropped out. I was no longer gainfully employed. Contracts, finances dried up in the crisis. This is a time where God wants everyone's attention. There's a number of stories within the book. Great. And the hook is more how to overcome in a crisis and be still in the storm, shake the dust. So here's what I'll say, Deborah. Your hooks, what you're giving me as a hook sounds more like a title to a book, and they're not the same thing. So you gotta, with the hook, whether celebrity, timely, local, you've got like one sentence to get a producer's attention and tell that producer why he or she needs to pay attention to you, and not the 60 other emails they got today to get on that TV show, right? Or radio show. And so if you say how to overcome in a crisis and be still in the storm, I'm sorry, it just sounds like everything else, right? You've got to give me something more than that, right? Whether it's like what I shared about Dr. Allen, how COVID-19 is destroying, married couple sex lives. Like, I didn't know that. That gets my attention. That's specific. That's like, wow, I didn't know that. Or what I shared about the COVID and racism thing, the racism test, 3 questions that you can ask yourself to determine whether you're a racist or not, right? So, I mean, stuff like that's a hook. That's what gets your attention. And you need to be specific, and you need to tie in the event, right? The thing that's going on timely right now, if timely is your hook, which you're saying it is, with what your subject matter is, okay? So I gave lots of examples of that. Hopefully that is super helpful. So there you go. That is our feedback. That is our homework review. So let's go back to the PowerPoint and let's dive in. Poor Amy's been waiting so patiently. Amy, there's just so much to share, so much to do, right? Remember, what is this? Type in the comments section, type in the chat. Your best-selling book is your gateway to the business you want, the life you want, the success that you want. It is your gateway to your 7-figure and beyond business. That has been true for me in multiple businesses. It's true for people that you look up to in your field, whether it's a John Maxwell or a Dave Ramsey or a Susie Orman or, fill in the blank, a Shanda Sumter, et cetera. It is your gateway. So let's do a recap of what we talked about yesterday, the part 2 of the 5-step strategy. This was the 5-step strategy overall. Soft launch, that's 2 to 3 weeks. Then we do paid ads, social media, and press releases all in the same week. Then ongoing websites, blogs, and podcasts. I gave you extra credit. I did speak more specifically about PR and media, but you need to build an email list. Amazon ads are a great way to bring continued attention to your book. PR and media, speaking, and of course, building your own Facebook groups. I gave you some extra credit. This is new for BSP. We've only been doing this about a year, but now for select clients, we have a package that we actually will market into libraries, schools, chain bookstores, indie bookstores, and corporations. I shared with you about my buddy and client, Todd Herman, how we did this, and this led to a corporation buying over 25,000 copies of his book. That was Pepsi, because they believed in the message. They know Todd is an expert in the message because of his Wall Street Journal best-selling book, and very, very cool what turned out. So there's lots of opportunities there. I then went into the PR and media pretty significantly. I told you my story. Yes, my book in 2009, when I wrote it, it helped me explode my business. But the primary way that it helped me was using PR and media. And specifically, I shared my story about radio. Since that time, I've been on TV all over the United States. I've been in Entrepreneur and Forbes and Success Magazine. And that is not by accident. That is because we have worked on getting me in those things. And that is the opportunity for you. That builds your credibility in a massive way. I gave you my 6-step strategy. Step 1, the PR formula. We talked about that. Remember, C plus AH plus WTS. We talked about how to craft a hook, the essential elements of your segment, how to have a successful appearance and use it over and over, how to make money with your PR and media, the fastest and easiest way to get booked. If you go, oh, Rob, I don't remember any of that, well, then go back and watch yesterday's training. All of that was part of the discussion. I talked more specifically about how to make money with media. I gave you multiple examples: media for credibility, media for tribe building, repurposed media for social, PR, your media to a direct offer, and then media to a funnel, which could be radio, podcast, or your own platform. I shared about my client, Natalie, and how we booked her on all of this TV, launched her book to bestseller, and then Natalie was given a 6-figure offer for her book and future book with Hay House, which was fantastic. I shared about our nationwide tour with Kaylin and how that helped to continue to blow up her book and her platform. And I, of course, shared with you about my client, Ted Coleman, and I basically helped you to know that, look, just because you've already launched your book, if you have, and your book didn't do well, it's not too late. This was Ted Coleman's story. He had already launched his book. It didn't go well. Several months later, he came to me. We relaunched it. It became #1 in every category. That led to about $250,000 in income to him, as well as almost a high 5-figure, almost 6-figure offer from Morgan James for his next book. Now, am I promising that all that's going to happen for you? Of course not. I don't know what's going to happen. Who knows? But I do know that when you do this, things happen for you. Okay. So that's a recap. Today, I have a special guest. I'm going to introduce Amy in just a minute. And Amy, you're going to have to go live with me, which means I'm going to, when it comes time, I will make sure that I can unmute you and give you the con, as they say. But we're going to talk about the BSP $1 Million Author Strategy. I'm going to give you a bunch of them, okay? I'm not just going to give you one. I'm going to give you a bunch of them. And we're going to talk about several of them. I'm going to talk about another one tomorrow. And I do have an opportunity to talk about another one on Tuesday. That's why, as I said to you, I don't know if we're going to end this tomorrow or we're going to end this on Tuesday. We will see. These are some of the $1 Million Author plans. Number 1, royalties, books, book deals, movies. Okay. Our clients have gotten all of these things. Book deals, obviously they make royalties. This is the most difficult of the $1 Million Author plans because you need to create a lot of content. It's not enough to have one book and hit the jackpot. You need to have volumes of books. That's why even someone as impressive as J.K. Rowling and Stephen King continue to write books, because as they write new books, they get massive book deals. They make more and more money. Number 2, consulting. Number 3, coaching. Number 4, high ticket services. That's what BSP does. Number 5, raising money. Number 6, speaking. Number 7, products, courses, and software. We, of course, are going to focus on speaking today. This is what we'll talk about. And Amy and I will go into depth as much as we can on this. I'm going to share with you the $1 Million Author speaker plans. There's a bunch of them. There's 7 of them. There's more than 7, but I'm going to share with you about 7 of them. Number 2, where to find opportunities. I'm going to give you some details on that, although Amy's going to share a good bit. Number 3, how to use your book to get booked. So there's a system to do that. And then number 4, and I doubt we're going to get to this, but how to actually close deals and make money from the stage. That's a course all by itself. But we have some things that we teach our clients that works very, very well. These are the 7 plans. Number 1 is speak for a fee, and I'm going to bring Amy on in just a second because that has been her specialty. Number 2, speak to sell or pitch. That's where you're actually pitching your product. Speak on your own stage. That's something that I do. And in essence, I'm doing it right now, right? I created my stage. I created an event. Number 4, speak for credibility. Number 5, speak to raise money. Number 6, speak online. That's what I'm doing now, webinars and challenges. And number 6 is more advanced, and most of you should not try to do that. And that is write somebody else a check to get on their stage, which is something I've done several times. That's how Dr. Allen and I met. I wrote Shanda Sumter a $30,000 check to be a sponsor of her event. And I spoke all weekend and, made about $150,000 or $200,000 at that event from that. But that's an advanced strategy because you're coming out of pocket with money first. Speak for a fee. Let me give you a couple of examples. And then Amy and I will, I'll bring Amy on. So I shared about my client, Delano Lewis. This is what Delano does. We help Delano with his book, and this is kind of the 3rd iteration, if you will. Now in his 70s, he speaks on college campuses and universities. Kevin Harrington of Shark Tank, this is his primary business model. He speaks, he actually is on the road almost every single week of the year. Of course, that's changed with COVID. It's changed pretty radically, but he was doing 70 to 80 different speaking engagements a year. His average fee is $25,000. So you can do the math. It's a 7-figure plus business. Plus these big companies that he speaks for then hires him and his companies to do work, which is really cool. This is my client, Roddy Chong. Sometimes I wonder if I should use Roddy as an example because he still hasn't finished his book, and I'm trying to shame him into finishing it. But this is actually a strategy to get booked. We created a cover for Roddy's book. This is Roddy's book, Ovation: Unlocking the Hidden Secrets to Influencing the Masses. Roddy is a master violinist. He's the violinist for Celine Dion, Shania Twain. He is the #1 violinist for the Trans-Siberian Orchestra, and they do like 60 to 70 tour stops a year, big time. He knows everybody from Kevin Costner, et cetera, but he wants to and continues to speak. And so what we did as we were creating his book is we said, hey, look, let's go ahead and create the cover. Let's do something really cool. That's, of course, an image of Roddy performing with the Trans-Siberian Orchestra. And let's start using that to get you booked, knowing that you're going to complete your book, even though you haven't, Roddy. I need to give him a call. He's a buddy of mine. I actually met him at a Ferrari show, of all things, which is really crazy. My son met him. I actually paid my son a referral fee because he met Roddy at a Ferrari show, and we became really, really good friends. And he wanted to write a book, and so he came to me to do it. Anyway, Roddy has used his book to book himself on speaking engagements, even though his book wasn't completed. The latest one was a $20,000 engagement with Grant Cardone's 10X conference. He spoke in front of like 9,000 people. So kind of cool. Lots of things you can do. So Amy Dix, yay, Amy. Let me see if I can unmute you. Amy, say hi. Let's make sure.
Hello, happy Sunday.
Happy Sunday. Thank you, Amy. I love Amy. Amy is obviously was a client first, but became a really good friend. And we're always doing things together from the standpoint of business stuff. And I told her I have a really cool idea. And I'm going to tell her about that hopefully tomorrow or the next day. But Amy has been like a master success as a public speaker. Amy wrote 2 books with Bestseller Publishing, Brand New You, which she used for speaking and to grow her branding company, and 7 More Days, which is a beautiful book about positivity and happiness. And so Amy, I'm super honored to have you on. Amy is a really, really successful speaker. She's a sweetheart, so you can see why she's dynamic on stage, but you have to get the engagements. So Amy, I'm going to kind of turn it over to you, and maybe we can do a little bit of a Q&A, and I'd love for you to kind of maybe start with your background and how you even got started speaking, because, where you started, what your fees were and all of that to where you are now is like OMG, like a massive difference. So you go where you like. They're more
right.
interested in you.
I can
than
roll
me.
with that. Yeah, I can take it from there. That's awesome. So for me, like, I would love to just kind of see, and if you're on Facebook too, maybe just like comment, but who like feels like I am a speaker? Like I was meant to be on stage. I am a speaker. And if that's you, then awesome. Like that was me. And even if that's not you, you might still find a little love on stage. So if you think that like you can use your book to get speaking engagements, you're absolutely right. If you think it's going to be easy, well, I have to tell you, there is some work involved, but the doors that it opens is so insane and so incredible. And I always say, like, my second home is on a stage. And so to be able to get on stage for me is like the most beautiful thing. And so when I first started to just be on a stage and not get paid for it, I was like, I can do this. I can do, but you can't sustain that, right? You can't sustain it. This is not like charity. You can't sustain that forever. So I remember when I first started, like early on, I mean, I did some free ones, of course, but I was speaking for $225. And it wears on you because there are, there's time involved. I mean, I think people think we just get up on a stage and like speak for 45 minutes. We're like, peace out. That was fun. No, there's so much work involved, right? So over time, and because of my book and the way that I've leveraged my book, my speaking fee now is $5,000 for a stage. And I'll tell you, and I'm nobody. Like I always like to say that, like I'm nobody, nobody knows who I am. So it's not like I'm a famous person and I can just like command whatever price I want. That's not true. But you can command better pricing when you do have a book. And I don't know if you even saw this, Rob, but tomorrow I'm speaking. Well, I guess when we were talking a little bit, you saw it, but on Slack, I was telling you specifically about the speaking gig I have tomorrow. And some of you might be thinking like, oh my gosh, that sounds great, but we're in the middle of a pandemic, so I'm not even going to concentrate on that right now. And that is the wrong, if you want to be a speaker, like this is my stage, right? Like this is my little home office. It's everything. It's an art studio. It's a home office. It's like where I play music. It's like everything, right? So this has become my stage. So when you change your mindset on that, you can create any stage that you want. And so I'm speaking tomorrow for Pfizer, and I'm doing about a 60 to 90 minute workshop on happiness, and they're paying me $2,500 to do that. So you can do it.
Nice job.
But I have to tell you how they found me, because I mean, whatever, that sounds great and all, but somebody read my book. Okay. And then they were talking casually with their friends who happens to be a neighbor of this person. And this guy was just talking about COVID and how his team is working virtually and how he kind of just needs to get his team, up and going, and what are some ideas. And the guy who read my book was like, I don't know, but you should reach out to this girl who wrote this book. And so he reached out to me, and here we are, right? So you never know like how your book is going to affect people. You just don't know. So you can be very proactive, but in this case, this one came to me, and this is now the second one that was a high paying gig that came to me since COVID. And, I felt like when COVID happened, I thought, oh my gosh, my whole like career is over, because that's what I did. I traveled and I spoke on stages. And when Rob goes through like the different types of plans on how you can make money speaking, like the one that I prefer is just you pay me to get up and speak for 60 minutes and then I do peace out, but there's other ways to make money speaking. That's just my preference. So you can absolutely leverage your book in order to get those speaking gigs. But man, going from $225 to $5,000, not possible. Like I don't even see how that would have been possible without my book. So it's a great way to leverage your assets.
Amy, I love that.
I don't know. I don't even know. I can go down so many rabbit holes.
I got a couple of questions. So I got a couple of rabbit holes specific for you. Because what they want to know is, okay, number one, how do I get speaking engagements? And I'd like you to share and talk a little bit about that, and then I can talk about my methodology for that. And like you said, there's lots of ways to use your book to get speaking engagements, and we're more about being proactive than reactive. Like, it's great that Pfizer called and paid you $2,500 for 60 minutes and you don't have to leave your house, but that's reactive, right? That's like the icing on the cake. We need to bake the cake. And so maybe if you could talk about some of the more proactive ways of getting speaking, and tell them what you've done. I mean, how many speaking engagements you did, over using this methodology.
Yeah. Okay, perfect. So let's talk about being proactive. So because I was proactive, using Rob's model with a little tiny tweak to it, but using Rob's model, I was able to speak 97 times within an 18-month period. So I was on the road all the time. And I loved that. At that point in my life, it was like perfect, right? So 97 times within 18 months. There you go. So but that was being reactive. Obviously, I didn't get 97 people that just raised their hand and found me randomly. Right. So that was very, very proactive. I think I might have just said that the other way around. So the way that I did that and the way that I leveraged that was to do what Rob suggests, which is you send a copy of your book to those who are the decision makers who make the decisions to hire speakers. And you then follow up with them and say, hey, I see you're doing this conference. I sent you the book. And really the book is less about like the message that they saw in the book, because by the time you call them, they have not read your book, right? It just happens to be sitting on their desk. And if you time it right, you send them the book and you call them about 2 or 3 days after they've received the book. So it's less about them reading the book and going, oh, this person's a good writer, right? So it's more about being able to get on a phone call with them, because when your book is sitting on their desk, they know who you are and they've got your information. The little tweak that I did to his system, which that he can go into detail into that. But the little tweak that I did is I also would send a personalized video that just said, hey, Rob, I know you're having a conference next year. My name's Amy Dix. I just sent you a book. Hope you received it. I'll call you in the next couple of days to follow up, but would love to da-da-da-da. It's less than 2 minutes long. I call them teaser videos, and that's it. So now he has seen me. He has heard me. He has my book on his desk. How can you not take that call? Right? That would be that. It's just, it opens the door so much better. And the other thing that I think is really important with that kind of method is I always say, I'm a speaker before I'm a writer. Not that it went in that order, but I would rather speak than sit down and write 100 books. So if that's what I want to do and I want to leverage my book for that, then you have to speak. They have to hear you speak. So if you just send your book and then that's it, and then say, I'll email you, and then have an email campaign, they still haven't really heard you speak. You're just assuming that they might even go to your website and see one of your videos or your highlight reel, but that might not happen. So speak to them and capture their heart and capture who, what's important to them. Rob was talking about the hook earlier with PR. I have all these notes from when you guys were talking earlier, and I'm like, oh, this applies, this applies, this applies. But he was talking about all these hooks for PR. It's the same thing for speaking, right? You've got to find the hook for why you want to be on that stage. Now, for me, it's different. I have 2 very different books. One is on branding and marketing, and the other is on the science of happiness. I mean, you couldn't get more black and white versus touchy-feely than that, right? But there's so many people, if I just said, oh, I'm a motivational speaker, I'll motivate your audience, they'll be happy. So is every other motivational speaker out there, right? So you have to be able to find that hook for that is for their event and for their conference. And that takes time. I mean, it takes time to be very specific for each conference, because you can go at it and be general, but the amount of speaking gigs that you're going to get are very, very low, because you're doing just that. You're just being general, and you're just kind of like funneling people through a very vague funnel, which I think somebody was talking about earlier. So be specific and lead with your heart. Like that would be my biggest advice. So
love it. Love it. Let me go through this process. And I love the tweak that you added with the personal video. The process is actually the second part of the equation. The first part of the equation is targeting, which we'll get into in just a second. But once you've targeted who you want to speak for, you then need a way to bring those people, to your attention, or bring. How do you say that? You need to get their attention, right? They don't know who you are, and they don't know that they need you, and they don't know that you're the expert on the thing. And so you need to let them know. How do you let them know? Well, the first step is you've gotten your target list, and you know who the person is that sets the speaking engagement, and you know how to get, in front of her email, his email, her mailing address, etc. With that, you need a process. And when I say a process, I mean a system that works, and it works in the background constantly, right? Like I have, we run Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube ads every single day. Every day. They're running right now. I am doing this live. We're no longer advertising for the challenge, because the challenge is almost over, but we are advertising for the next thing. Like every single day I'm running ads. Why? Because it's the process, the system that we use to get my book in front of people. You need a process or a system that works continuously to get the attention of people until you're maybe someone like at Amy's level, where they're now coming to you through referrals, through relationships that have been built, through speaking engagements, and Amy can speak to that in a minute. But this is where you start. You start with mailing your book. And I love Amy's tweak about adding a personal video. Hey, I'm going to, hopefully you've gotten my book. I'm going to reach out to you and have a call in the next couple of days. Just wanted to say hi and let you know that, I'm reaching out. Then step 2 is to do that reach out. Amy does it herself, which works like gangbusters. I also suggest you could do this with, a virtual assistant. And the virtual assistant only needs to, spend 3 hours a week doing this, if that. So literally it can cost no more than, I don't know, $60-$70 a week to have a virtual assistant do all these setup calls. And that setup call is nothing more than, hi, can I speak to Ms. Jones? I'm sorry, Ms. Jones is not available. Can I take a message? Well, I just want to make sure that Ms. Jones got my client, Amy Dix's book. Did Ms. Jones get Amy's book? Oh, yes, she did. Fantastic. Well, I'm wondering, can we maybe try to set up a one-on-one call between Amy and Ms. Jones in the next week or two, because I know you need speakers, and Amy's schedule's really booking up in the fall. So, let's try to get them together. And all that assistant is doing is trying to set up step 3, which is for Amy and Ms. Jones to have a call to build a relationship and hopefully close a deal, right? To close a deal to get paid to speak at that big event that's coming up. And if you do this once, probably nothing will ever happen. But if you set up a system where you're sending out 3 to 5 books a week, and you're making these calls or having an assistant call, then let me tell you something. This is going to work like gangbusters for you. You will have more speaking engagements than you know what to do with. Why do I have Amy on? Because she's one of the few people that actually follows through and gets results. You know what I mean? Like if you really want to be a speaker, this is how to do it. And you can speak. I mean, you can make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year speaking on stages. And eventually, I mean, Amy, maybe you could talk for a few minutes about what it looks like now as a speaker, because you don't do this as much now. You do this a little, but your speaking engagements are coming to you through a couple of other sources. Can you talk about that?
Yeah, I mean, well, just think about it. You're speaking on a stage of even a small crowd for a conference would be what, like 100, 200 people. That's 100 or 200 people that have the opportunity to connect with you. And not everybody is going to connect with you, but let's say 50% of them connect with you. So you have a 200-person audience, 100 of them connect with you. Now, every audience is different, but how many of those want you to speak for them or somebody that they know, right? So it is not uncommon for after you speak. And I always like to tell the event planner, like, hey, book me like right before lunch or right at the end of the event or right before a break, because what happens then is you get the line of people. And the cool thing about getting the line of people is there's always one or two people there, not just for a copy of your book, not to just give you a hug and tell you that they loved you so much. There's one or two people there who want to give you their information that says, oh, I think you would be great at blah, 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 blah. Right. So, and that's all you need. You just need that lead. And then you go and you can close it from there. And that is a much easier close to do than
it's like
than
a referral
otherwise.
at that point, right? I mean, you know,
Yeah.
they watched you dazzle the audience and they're like, oh, we got to have her. And it's so much easier. Now I don't have to look for a speaker because I found her, right? It just does
Exactly.
everybody a favor.
Yeah. And the one thing that I want to say too along those lines is like sometimes like people are like, well, I'm just not going to speak for free. And I get that. Like you get to a point where you're like, you're past that. You're not going to speak for free. However, I will speak for free for local little groups all day long because it takes me nothing to drive across town. And and a lot of times I like to test material that way. But in a lot of cases, like these little networking groups, when they start meeting again, I would say start there, like go there. I mean, that is a great launch pad. And even now, like when right before COVID, I was kind of feeling like I wasn't traveling enough and I kind of wanted to start speaking and ramping it back up again. And so I just started reaching out to local networking events and just saying, hey, can I speak? And they're always going to say yes. I've never had anyone say no because they need speakers at those events, right? So, and from that, I booked 3 other paid gigs just for a little networking event because somebody goes, oh,
Wow.
my company could totally use you, you know? So definitely don't like shut them down. But that is, once you kind of start getting the momentum, and this is what I tell our authors too, like when you're writing your book, so you can take this advice in different ways here in writing your book and getting speaking, but don't lose the momentum. Like whatever you do, don't lose the momentum. So once you start the momentum, man, ride that train. Like,
Yep.
don't stop, keep going, because that momentum is really what creates all the gigs from then on. And then
Yep.
you don't have to go and do this. And Rob says I did it myself. I did do it myself. However, I do have to say I had an assistant that I hired to help me find the gigs on the front end, because to me, it was a lot of work. It was just taking up a lot of time. So that's how I structured it.
Love it. Love it. There are a couple of questions, Amy. So Anita's asking, do you have a full, like, complete speech on your website for people to take a look at?
Okay, so interestingly enough, I just spoke virtually for this behavioral conference that was supposed to be live and went virtual. And one of the things is that they pre-recorded me and then they had their live conference. We just got the video back, so that the full speech will be on my website, which there's kind of 2 schools of thought to that. And for so long, I fought putting up an entire speech just for the public to see, because I thought, well, people hire me to do this. But up on the website, it's amythespeaker.com if you want to look at the website, but the videos up on there as well.
Awesome. Awesome. Thank you. And a couple of other people, the VIPs, Judy got to meet Zig Ziglar because she reached out during a speaking engagement to do some singing, which was cool. Looks like TK also, although TK, you're asking a question about getting around because they wouldn't allow you to sell. I do have a strategy for that. I don't know that we'll have time to get into it, but I will do my best. If not, I promise that I'll share something that will be helpful. Jim is, well, let me ask this before Jim. So James asked on Facebook, can you help out, or how was the personal video done? This video here that you're sending, how did you do that? And any tips there?
Yeah, well, when I first started doing it, I did it on QuickTime and recorded it, saved the file, and then uploaded it to YouTube and password protected it. Like, that's how I started. And then, but now I just use Loom, Loom. So you can just use a Loom video. And the cool thing about Loom is what I'll do is I'll put either their conference website or their company website on the video. And then there's a little place where you're on camera, and then that's how I do it.
Yeah, Loom is great. It's a free, just loom.com. It's a free app. We use it. I use it to record stuff online. So really good. Great tip there, Amy. And then Jim's asking any advice on speaking from Zoom versus speaking on the physical stage, specifically for driving engagement. Yes,
I got tons of advice. It's different, right? Like, because when I'm on stage, I mean, right now I'm standing up, but when I'm on stage, I'm walking around. You can go up, you can go down. You engage differently. It's also like a different energy level. 100%. I find myself, I am drained after a 45-minute talk on Zoom, where I am ecstatic after a 45-minute talk on a stage. It's really different. It's really interesting. I never realized this was going to happen. So as far as engagement goes, this is why I'm drained, right? Because you constantly are fighting for the engagement. And so there's certain things that I like to do. One, on Zoom has breakout rooms, depending on maybe your membership with Zoom. But so I still break people out, just like if they were going to like discuss something for a couple minutes and I'm on stage facilitating that. So I'll do that. The other thing that I do, and I don't have it out right now, but is I have like different props here, because it's the same thing with stage. Like, we don't want to sit and look at a PowerPoint the whole time. You don't want to sit and look at a PowerPoint the whole time either. It's why Rob jumps back and forth between him speaking, between his whiteboard, between the PowerPoint. Same thing when you're speaking. You want to do that. And then I also have like little props that I actually show the camera and do that kind of stuff, because it helps to keep the engagement. And I ask for them to like chat or, put something in the, give me a thumbs up or whatever. I do that a lot too. So
love it. Esty actually asked, I answered it in the chat, but she said, do you find any barriers to larger speaking engagements as a self-published author versus the big five? And I answered it, but you can answer it too, Amy. Esty, no one ever asks who published your book.
Oh,
they don't care. They don't care who published your book. The only people that want you to care about who published your book are the publishers. They're the only ones that care. No one cares if it's Simon & Schuster or Penguin or Bestseller Publishing. Makes no difference. So, but you can answer that, Amy.
No, I would say the same thing, and I'll take it another step further. And I kind of alluded to it earlier, is that like, and I don't know if Rob said this one time, but it's not true, but it's kind of true. But it's like, no one reads your book except for your mom. Right? So it's not really true, because people really will read your book. I do promise.
They will. They totally will.
They will read your book. But as I was saying earlier, like, it's not like somebody picked up my book that I sent them and they read the whole thing from cover to cover and they're just dying to talk to me, right? It's more of like a leverage point. And no, I've never been asked who publishes my book. Yeah, and I've never really asked if they've ever read it either, because you can just tell.
Yeah. So let me give you a pro tip on the mail piece there. If you're going to physically mail your book, and you should if you want to get speaking engagements, then something that I always recommend to my clients, and by the way, this is a process that can be used not just to get speaking engagements, but to get anything else. Let's say that you want to land a deal, a six-figure consulting deal with a company, and you know that they're having problems that you can solve. Or speaking. Well, if you're trying to land a speaking engagement, then you've done some research, or you've had an assistant do research, and they found that there's an event coming up. And at that event, the the idea or the title of the event is X, Y, and Z. So they have a need for speakers that are focusing on X, Y, and Z. So what do? Well, you send your book, and you can put a sticky note right on the front that says, hey, I see that you have, speaking engagement, coming up, or a conference coming up on this subject. I talk about this subject extensively on page 135 to page 150. So why don't you take a minute and read just 135 to 140. In other words, you're telling them you don't have to pick up the whole book and thumb through it. But if you have something in the book that really speaks to their need at the moment, then put a personal sticky note on there and lead them directly to that thing. And that will make a huge difference.
So good. That's awesome advice.
So let's talk. There was a question here about, it was from Deborah. How do you find who's looking for speakers? So let's talk a little bit, Amy, if we could, about we've given the process, but the real start of this, from my perspective, is you need a target, right? You need to know who it is that has the need. Why don't you speak to that for a few minutes, and then I'll share our system around doing it.
Yeah, perfect. So there's a couple of broad ways, and then you can get really niche and very, very focused, right? So, and I forget the way that Rob's target looks, but he'll draw it out for you. But you can always just Google your topic plus event, right? And so you're just looking for events on happiness or events on digital marketing, whatever it is. Now that's very, very broad, and that is a very cold way to go about it, but it can work. And we have gotten speaking gigs that way. A real favorite of mine is to use associations, and associations, even now, okay, they still have to have events. So because they have to provide so much education to their members. So regardless if they're meeting live or not, they still have to fulfill their bylaws essentially. So really find the associations that are within your niche or that could use your information, and you can go after the associations. I've had a ton of luck doing that. And the cool thing about that is that you can start, I have one organization where I started working for their association in Nebraska. And then that then led to working. Now, think of how many states there are, right? So if they have state associations, they have state associations for every state. So then we expanded that and was able to get that list. And then I did a speaking not very long ago for an association in Colorado. And now I'm in talks with the National Association. So you can start with local associations, and then you can just build upon associations. So that's definitely a favorite of mine. Another is to really just find an industry niche. So if you are really dialed into your audience and your topic, and it just kind of depends on what you're writing about, but if you serve a specific niche, man, go after that niche specifically and then be known in that niche. And I think that that's a lot easier to expand when you have a very specific niche as well.
Love it. That's a lot of good gold right there. I hope you guys are getting that. So, in some ways we put the cart before the horse. The first thing we talked about was the process that you use. But really the first step is to determine who it is that you're going to use the process on, and that's your target, right? So we have kind of a three-tier way to look at the target. The first tier, and this is just a very ugly bullseye, right? The first tier, your outer ring, is local. And Amy mentioned that. These are local conferences, local events, local associations. So if you're new to speaking, then doing what Amy did, even as a mature speaker, Amy called, local events and local meetups and said, hey, do you need a speaker? And they said yes. And if you're new to speaking, then this will allow you to kind of cut your teeth. As my old business partner used to say, get the marbles out of your mouth and get some reps, right? Get some at bats. Nothing wrong with that. And so local is a good place to begin if you're a beginner. From there, the beautiful, the sweet spot is both, this kind of first inner circle and then the bullseye itself. The first inner circle is regional and national, and regional and national what? Regional and national conferences, regional and national associations, and regional and national trade shows. So conferences, associations, trade shows, right? The CAT method. Conferences, associations, and trade shows. I showed you yesterday that my client, using his book, was booked for a regional trade show. There were 500 people or so in the room. He made $700,000. I shared with that yesterday. Now he's selling a very expensive program. It's $50,000 a year, but he got 14 clients from that. So this is a great sweet spot. Conferences, associations, and trade shows, regional and national. From there, the bullseye, and the bullseye is not, it doesn't necessarily mean this is better, but I call it bullseye because this is more direct, either private or public corporations or companies. So this is like you going directly to the public or the private company, like Amy just spoke for Pfizer, right? This was not a regional trade show. This was not a national show. This is speaking directly for Pfizer, right? You're dealing directly with the corporation. The beautiful thing about that is Pfizer has, I don't know, 100,000 employees, right? Like there's opportunities for you to do stuff with them probably every single week if you wanted to. And so when you go direct to a company that needs what it is that you're speaking on, you may have not just opportunities for today, but you may have opportunities for a year. And if I'm not mistaken, that's where when you did your 97 speaking engagements, you did a good number of those speaking engagements for this bullseye space, right?
Correct.
So no reason why you can't do that. Now that may not come to you right away, but the key is the first thing you have to do, and what we tell our clients is you want 50 to 100 of these, 50 to 100. Okay. How do you get 50 to 100? Well, look, there's lots of ways to do it. The simplest way is just to pay somebody. You need the name of the regional organization, the national trade show, the national conference, the regional conference. You need the name of the person that's the conference organizer. You need his or her email address, his or her telephone number, and his or her mailing address, right? You just need their contact info, email, mailing, telephone number. If you find 50 to 100, you pay an assistant. Amy said that's, what she primarily had an assistant for. Was to get these, 50 to 100, then now you can move on to the next step, which is the process. Can you do this yourself? Sure. Do I have a whole training on how to do it yourself? No, use Google, use YouTube, right? Like go to YouTube and type in, how do I find regional conferences, regional speaking engagements, right? Like if you're going to do it yourself, you're going to have to, this will show my age, but you're going to have to let your fingers do the walking. That was the old yellow pages. Dr. Allen just looked up. TK just looked up. We're all we're all old, evidently, because there are no yellow pages anymore. But remember when they used to put that, 500-page phone book on your front door or whatever? That's what you're going to have to do. You're going to have to search Google. You're going to have to search YouTube. You're going to have to look for opportunities. And this is what you're looking for. If you're a beginner, you are looking for local opportunities. That's easy. If you are, someone that is more seasoned as a speaker, this is where the money is made. The money is really made in regional CAT, right? Conferences, associations, trade shows, national conferences, associations, trade shows, and then direct public, private companies and their direct speaking to their conferences. When you do that, and I know this is very ugly drawing, but you're not paying me for my artwork. So you're not paying me for anything, a lot of you. You are being subsidized by all these wonderful people that have become my clients in the last 24 hours. But this is what you need to do to get. You start first with the target, and then you move into the process. Anything extra to share there, Amy? I'll go back to the process so everybody.
Yeah, I was just thinking as you were talking through that, and I think I shared this the last time, which is what does speaking look like before a book? Like, how do you get speaking gigs before a book, and what does it look like after? Let me tell you, before I had a book, this is what speaking looks like. You do that, you Google, you try to find these organizations, and what do you have to do? There's this thing called Call for Speakers, and you have to fill out their online forms, and they take anywhere from 20 to 30 minutes per form to fill out. There's no easy way to fill them out. You have to upload your bio every single time. You have to upload your headshot every single time. You can't just direct them to your website or to your media kit. You have to copy paste your summary of your speech. You can't talk to anyone. It's just very general. They get hundreds of submissions. And I remember the last time I pulled up an email, Robin, I don't remember what it was anymore, but it was like, hey, thanks for submitting to be a speaker. We had over 300 submissions. It's like, how do you stand out at 300 submissions when it's just words and a headshot, you know? So that's what it looks like before a book. And Rob talks about, I don't know if he still says this, but being the hunter and hunted, like that, you're hunting all the time, right? And then, am I saying this right? And then to become the hunted is when they actually come to you. And that's what it looks like after you have a book, is you then become that, and they seek you out, and you have that leverage point because you're being proactive on the other end. You don't have to fill out a call for speakers form. So you don't have to fill one of those out. Then you've made some progress in your speaking world.
I love it.
That's what it looks like before and after having a book.
Yeah, great job, Amy. It's funny. I was about to go down another rabbit hole, and I looked at my watch. I'm like, holy cow. I mean, we're on number 1, speaking for a fee, right? We got like 6 more to go through for crying.
Maybe you shouldn't have me on anymore. Maybe I just
No, are you kidding? I actually want you to do the whole thing. You're great. No, this is terrific. I don't want to go down another rabbit hole, but I hope look, most of you, I can go through the other 5 or 6 or however many there are pretty quick. Most of you want to speak for a fee. I know you do, because I talk to you, and I know that that's what you're looking for. Look, I'm telling you, you can do it. Now, you'll have to decide how many weeks a year you want to be on the road. Amy loves being on the road. I don't. I want to be in bed with my dogs every night at 9:30, and my wife. I want us to be together. And, I got my routine. My OCD is acting up more and more since I've hit 50s, right? I don't know. But you'll decide how much you want to be on the road. If you want to be on the road all the time like Amy, then great. This is how you do it. If you decide that you only want to be on the road a little, then you still do this. But what you do is you cherry pick the best. You just take the people that pay you the most, because you say, I'm only going to do 4 speaking engagements this year, right? And so they're going to be regional and national, or they're going to be direct to public and private companies, or they're going to be on Zoom, and you can do as many as you want. And boom, you're golden. But guess what? To do 4 as, not a well-known speaker, you're going to have to reach out to 50 or reach out to 100 with your best-selling book, with your media, kit and the media that you've been on. And when you do it in the process that we showed you right here, then guess what? You will get fantastic opportunities. You will. It will happen. And remember, I said this is a process, which means you don't just do this once and say, oh, Rob sucks. His method doesn't work. I tried it. I sent 3 books out and no one called me. Well, no, they're not going to call you. And I do suck if that's what you're going to do. But if you do this like a system or a process, you'll make money, and you will make an impact, and you'll be, the reason we know who Zig Ziglar is today is because Zig Ziglar was on the road 50 weeks a year. And before Zig Ziglar was well known, this is the kind of stuff that he did to get well known. Same with Dan Kennedy and so many others. Once you get well known, and Amy has become more and more well known, then the stuff starts coming to you, and you don't have to do any of this. But we're not there yet. We pay the price right now. Okay. Any other thoughts there, Amy? And I probably need to do the rest of the stuff I said I would do.
No, good luck, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday with Rob. He's not a bad person to spend a Sunday with. So,
Amy, you're awesome. Love you. I'm grateful for you. I
thank
just
you.
think you're the best. And I'll reach out in the next like 24 hours. Let's get something set for like Tuesday, because I know you have your Pfizer thing tomorrow, and let's chat.
Yeah, perfect. All right.
Okay.
See you guys.
See you later.
Thanks.
All right. Say bye to everybody, Amy. And Catherine made a funny comment. She said, "Thank you, Rob. And thank you, kind clients, for subsidizing Rob." So thank you, Catherine, for saying that. Thank you for appreciating my sarcasm. Okay, let's try to run through. I have a lot more to go over with you. Let's try to run through this and talk about it. So we just spent however long with Amy talking about speaking for a fee. I know that that's what the majority of you want to do, but there's a lot of other opportunities for you. Speaking for a fee, I have done that. I have made a lot more money with the other methods that I'm going to show you, but that's just because I don't do a lot of speaking for fees. So I've already shared with you why. Number two, speak to sell or pitch. Speak to sell or pitch. So this is my client, Erica Ormsby. We did Erica's book, I Am Happy, Healthy, Free: How to Become the Person Who Lives Your Dreams. Obviously, self-help book. Erica used it to book herself on a TED Talk for incredible authority. And then what Erica did, which was really, really creative, is, with some advice and guidance and help and team and all of that, is she started booking herself for her own events. So she, in essence, created her own events in conjunction with another company. And so she wanted to do this transformational seminar. She had never done anything like this before. And she went to various organizations. One of them, Liberate Hollywood, is the name of the organization, and said, "Look, you guys can sell tickets. I'm the best-selling author of this book and TED Talk speaker, and I want to come in and because I'm allowing you to keep the gate, I'm allowing you to keep the ticket sale price. You're going to promote it to your audience. I want to pitch. I want to sell my stuff from the stage." And she was selling various programs from $4,000 up to, I think, $9,000. So these are some of the text threads that we had going back and forth. I said, "Hey, Erica, any update? How have the speaking engagements gone?" After her first one, she said, "Hi, I sold one more of my 4K program and have made some really key connections, and I'm learning at a rapid pace." She's brand new at this, never did anything like this, but she's gutsy. I said, "Nice. While earning is the best, or learning while earning is the best, what events are left?" So she had events in Denver, Seattle, Boston, New York. They're all back to back in 3 weeks. So grateful I did California first. I said, "Yes." So 12K sold and just getting started. So she sold 3 $4,000 packages from her first event. So in essence, she made $12,000 at her very first event. It didn't cost her anything to do it. It just cost her, she actually lives in California, so she just had to travel out there, do the event. She did a great job at the event. I don't remember how many people were there. It was small, 40, 50 people that another group got into the room, and she made $12,000 from that. And everybody was happy. The people that put on the event, they made whatever, $1,500, $2,000, and she made $12,000. Fantastic. I then asked her later, any updates on the event? She said, "Hi, I'm sorry I didn't respond before. Boston, New York went great. I got 3 more clients at $9,000 each, with more pending. However," and then I blocked it out because she shared some personal stuff with me. And she talked about how this is something she's been trying to do for 14 years. So literally this little speaking event tour that she did, she ended up making, I think, 50 or 60,000 bucks. I think she ended up doing 3 or 4 events, and it went fantastic. Now, is that gutsy? Big time, right? Is that harder in some ways than what we just shared? Yes. But if what you want to do is sell your stuff, then it's a cool way to sell your stuff, right? Partnering with somebody else and then selling your stuff directly from the stage. I already shared with you about Richard Maybun. Richard's the client that did the trade show and did $700,000. Now, he was not allowed to sell directly from the stage. He didn't do that. What he did instead was he sold at his trade show booth. So he did his presentation for 45 or 60 minutes. He then, did a lead generation pitch, which is something that I share with clients. I don't think we're going to have time to go into it. And he brought people to his trade show booth. And from that, I don't know how many came, but it was like 400 or 500 people in the room. And 14 of those people became his clients at an average of 50,000 each, 700,000 bucks. So you're speaking to sell or pitch. Okay. Number 3, speak on your own stage. So this is what Taki does. I shared with you about Taki. Taki does multiple live events, and he uses his book to bring people into those events and pay for a ticket to those events, $1 million coach events. And he then he does a 2-day training, and then he sells his black belt coaching program, which I don't know what the price is at this point, but it's close to 30,000. I think it's 24 or 25,000 for a year. And that's how Taki uses his book. So he uses his book to bring people to his own stage. It's not that many people. Generally speaking, it's less than 100 people that he's bringing in. And at those 100-person events, he will always bring on, a fifth to a third of the crowd. And that means that he's doing $300,000 to $500,000 in sales by bringing people into his own event. A more advanced strategy, right? You've got to be able to carry the stage for 2 days, not 60 minutes, but doing your own events, really, really powerful. I did my own events pretty regularly. In fact, I think it was in 2018, I did 8 of my own events. I called them the $1 Million Author Summit. Some of you, a couple of you, even VIPs, came. I think, Anita, you came to one of my $1 Million Author Summits. And it was 2 days of me teaching, similar to what I'm doing right now, to be quite honest, pouring myself out, giving the best stuff that I can give, showing people what they can do. And then I make an offer similar to the offer that I've made you guys, with the bonuses and that I will update you on in just a few minutes. And these $1 Million Author Summit events for me, I never did one that I didn't earn more than $100,000. Now, you've got to get the people into the room, right? You've got to, pay out of pocket to set up your room and to have everything ready. And then it's 2 days of you presenting. But if you want to have your own stages, I have an entire model to show you how to do that. I've done dozens of these, as I said, 8 of them in, I think it was 18. I did a couple last year, and of course, 2020, I haven't done any, and that was more due to COVID. And honestly, I'm enjoying doing the challenges and that sort of thing. That's number 3. Number 4, speak for credibility, something that all of you should want to do. I have multiple clients who have gotten TED Talks, all because of their best-selling books. This is my client, Jen Oliver. Jen is crushing it. Her business has exploded, $1 million coaching business. She did her book, The Love Fit Mama Way, Transforming the Core of Motherhood. She used it to book herself on TED Talks, and then used the book to continue growing her authority and credibility with podcast and PR and media. And she has absolutely crushed it. I've had her on a couple of different webinars, like with Amy. She's a doll and just a powerful woman of action, right? She is an action taker, and because of that, very successful. Speak to raise money. For those of you who do nonprofits, raising money, I shared with you, obviously, about Doug Bowman and John Mullen and Florencia, and how, that got them in front of the Indian consulate, which then meant the collaboration with the largest NGO, non-governmental organization in the world. That led to about $250,000 in funding, eventually millions in funding. It also led to them having an opportunity to speak before the General Council of the United Nations, something that was really fun. I went. That's obviously a picture of me in front of the United Nations, and that's a couple of the U.S. ambassadors after the speaking engagement, which was super fun. But it led to 7 figures in funding for them. Number 6, speak online, like webinars and challenges, just like this. So this is my buddy Pedro Deo. We did Pedro's book a few years back. I've been on Pedro's challenges. He's been on mine. Pedro, you may never have heard his name before, or maybe you have. He has made maybe close to $10 million this year already using his books and challenges. And he is running a challenge constantly. He did one challenge that brought in $2 million in sales to his company. Fantastic. He has used challenges to explode his business, and really he's become kind of the guy that does challenges. Peng Joon is a former client of mine. We helped him with media and PR. Peng is very, very well known in Asia, big time speaker. He also does collaborations, online webinars using his book. Russell Brunson, obviously, for most of you, needs no introductions. Russell does multiple webinars, challenges, and trainings. Every single Friday, he does a big webinar where he uses his books, gets people on an email list, drives them to a webinar. Obviously, he runs his own challenges. If any of you know of ClickFunnels, it's probably because you saw Russell using his book that then led into some online webinar. And the online webinars where he sold ClickFunnels and his various packages. And obviously, this is the exact thing that I'm doing. I used my book, Publish, Promote, Profit, to run the Publish, Promote, Profit challenge, right? I mean, wow, isn't that creative of me? You can do that, right? You can do exactly like I've done. I don't know what this challenge is going to mean for revenue. Look, every one of you have become clients. You become part of the bestseller publishing family. And I'm grateful for you, and we'll build our relationship. But for a moment, let me just drop the curtain, so to speak, and let you in behind the curtain. I've done 3 challenges now. If this challenge is anything like the others, it will mean that in 3 challenges, the revenue is approaching $1 million, right? And what am I doing? I'm speaking, right? I'm here in my guest house. I'm teaching, I'm training, I'm doing the thing that I love. I'm giving, I'm serving, I'm trying to give you the best I can. And then I make a great offer that is loaded with bonuses that for the right now there are 10, 11 of you. Before this is over, there'll be probably 20 or so. For the right 20 of you out of, 12 or 1,300 that came on, and I did paid advertising, but I only spent like 10 or 11,000 bucks. I got probably half of that back because of the VIP and the $17 platinum upsell. And I show my clients how to do all this stuff, right? I give like the full breakdown on how you can do it. And in fact, I'm not going to get ahead of myself, but there's a lot of training, let's just say, on how to do this. And it works. It works. If this is what you want to do, this is how I speak, right? I'm not on the road. I'm not hopping on planes. You already know that. I'm kind of grumpy when it comes to doing that kind of stuff. But I love to speak, and I love to give, and I love to serve. And so this is my way of doing it. And then number 7 is more advanced, and that's pay to speak. That's the most advanced way. And I do a lot of that. I've done that at Todd Herman's event, which he's run some very, very large events. Obviously, I've done that. I've been a sponsor of Shanda's event almost every year. Shanda generally has somewhere, those of you, Dr. Allen knows, anywhere from 1,000 to 1,300. Dr. Allen's actually one of the only men that goes to these events. Is that true or not? It's like 97% women. And so I sponsor. I normally write a check for $25,000 to $30,000. That's a big check. And I get a booth, but I get to speak on the main stage. I get to do breakouts, and then I make an offer. And that offer usually results in 6 figures in sales. And so that's a great way, again, more advanced, because you're making an investment while expecting a return. So you need to make sure you have your stuff dialed in, right? You need to make sure that you know what you're doing when it comes to actually speaking on stage and getting people to buy from you, making an offer that is worthwhile. A great way to test that, by the way, is webinars and online stuff. That's how I learned my chops, if you will. I learned from experts, but that's how I figured it out. I thought, well, if I screw up a webinar, so what, right? I'll do another one next week. And if I screw that one up, so what? I'll do a third one, right? Like if you just have the attitude that I'm not going to give up, you will make it work for yourself. Okay. So gosh, that's a lot, right? That's a lot of different opportunities, 7 different things. We spent most of the time talking about speaking for a fee, speak to sell, speak on your own stage, speak for credibility, speak to raise money, speak webinars, challenges, and then more advanced pay to speak. And I gave you examples of all those. Okay. Your best-selling book, that's your gateway, right? That's what opens the doors to the speaking opportunities. It's what opens the door to the media and the PR. It's what gives you the right, to speak to the C-suite executive as the expert. Now, you may already have that right, but it gives you the right in their mind, right? It gives you the credibility and the authority. It is your gateway. So let me take a few minutes. Let me share with you again the bestseller writing program. I want to answer any questions that you have, and then we're going to be done for today. I'm going to give you your homework for tomorrow. Remember, at this moment, I'm going to give away the $10,000 thing tomorrow. I'm going to give away the grand prize tomorrow. But don't hate me. Okay. Don't hate me if it's Tuesday, because if it's Tuesday, it just means that I'm giving you more content. Okay. But right now it's tomorrow. So now none of you that do homework are going to miss out. If you do the homework for tomorrow, then remember, I'm going to count that. You're going to get extra credit. You're going to get extra entries into the grand prize. Okay. So here's what my offer is. It's the bestseller writing program. For those that need help writing the book, then you get the book writing program. You get a dedicated project manager and coach. Maybe Amy, she's one of them on our team. With that person, you're going to get outlining sessions. We're going to help you brainstorm your book, your hook, your title, your subtitle, and all of your content. You're going to get weekly group coaching calls that are for accountability and training. You're going to get a total of 15 sessions with a one-on-one ghostwriter, one of my award-winning BSP writers that will help you during the first draft writing process. From there, the writer is going to give you a full assessment and check out your outline, your structure, your content, everything. After we have a finished first draft that you say, this is it, I like it, Bestseller Publishing is then going to take that from you. We're going to do a full copy edit of it. That means we're going to go through all of the content. We're going to tell you what structurally might need some adjusting. It's not the proofread. That's going to come later, but you're going to get a new set of eyes on it to give you a full copy edit so that what we put out together is awesome, right? That it really does position you the way you want to be positioned. After that, it's time to publish. Publishing is about formatting your book for digital and paperback. It's about the manuscript proofreading. So we're going to do another set of eyes on it to make sure spelling, grammar, punctuation, and design is correct. Then all the interior will be designed. We'll have your cover professionally designed by our award-winning graphic artist. We'll take care of the ISBNs, the copyright. We'll do the full upload and review. You'll have worldwide distribution. There are no royalties. We'll send 20 copies to you and give you some things to do with those copies. Okay. All of that done. That's $3,000. So $18,000 is the value of the book writing. $3,000 is the value of the publishing. After that, Bestseller Publishing does our full done for you bestseller launch. So we'll help you in the soft launch to get Amazon verified reviews. We'll then write 3 done for you press releases, each one to 1,000 media outlets. We'll do all of the paid advertising on 60 different international websites. We write the ads, place the ads, pay for the ads. We'll do a done for you social media campaign to 100,000 people a day. And you are guaranteed to be a bestseller in the United States and at least one other country for the week, or we will give you a full refund. Okay, so I put my money where my mouth is. We're good at what we do. We will get it done for you. After that, the profit phase. From there, collaborative PR work with one of our award-winning publicists. So the stuff that I did with you in the homework session, you're going to do that over a period of several weeks with one of my publicists, and they're going to really nail down your media hook and your full PR one sheet. Remember yesterday I talked about all the different steps to that. After that, you're going to get full access to all of our in-house media training, as well as get a list of the top 100 TV and radio stations. You're going to get my how to get booked on speaking engagements training, all of our training on how to launch your own consulting and coaching business. By the way, that's something that we're going to be talking about tomorrow. Tomorrow is part 2 of the $1 Million Author Strategy. And I'm going to share with you how to have your own $1 million coaching or consulting business. And then, of course, I have loads of lead generation and funnel training. That's a $5,000 value. So just to go over the numbers again, the full conservative value for all of this, $34,000. You also get lifetime access to the software, all the training that I give you, everything, how to raise money on Kickstarter, how to create your own products, etc. All of that. You get 3 secret bonuses. I told you about one yesterday. That is our client-only 2-day workshop. You all that join get an invitation to this. Not all of my past clients do. You will. Kevin Harrington, I've already paid him to come and be a speaker for this. So you'll get to spend time with Kevin, maybe get some photos with your book. Who knows? Maybe even get an opportunity to partner. At the last time that Kevin came, I think I shared this yesterday, one of my clients actually created a partnership that ended up making a good, significant revenue on. I have been partners with Kevin as well and have made hundreds of thousands of dollars from our partnership. Obviously, the guarantee, you're going to be bestseller or all of this is going to be free. So you get all of this, $55,000 in real value. You know you're not going to get it for that. It is $14,997. That's for everything. That's if you need your book done. Now, if you do not need your book done, then it's $7,997, and we will do the full launch for you, okay? Now, as I told you before, maybe you were on, maybe you weren't, but if you weren't on yesterday, the way you do that is there's no button to push to pay me $14,997. We need to have a conversation. You may have additional questions that you need answered. We have some questions that we want answered. We want to make sure we're a good fit to work together. So what you do is you put down a $997 deposit, and you will then be directed to a form. And on that form, you're going to answer some questions about your book, about your topic, and then we're going to schedule a call within 24 to 48 hours. And on that call, we will answer all your questions. We'll make sure we're a good fit to work together. And if you need a payment plan, we will help you to set up a payment plan. You do not need to pay it all in full, okay? This is what the site looks like right here. Congratulations on your first step to becoming a bestseller. You go through here, you put your information in, you see this is all of what the value is. Couple testimonials on there. When you click complete order, we will take a refundable $997 deposit. This is refundable, meaning that I don't want your $997. I want a new client. I want you to be thrilled with what we're doing, and I want my team to be thrilled with what we're doing for you. So that $997 will either be refunded back to you right away for any reason whatsoever, or that will be applied to the $14,997 or $7,997. But that's the only way to get started. A couple of people sent me an email, and you sent me your telephone number and said, Rob, let's have a conversation. I love you, but we're not doing that, okay? That's not how you get started with this. I don't just do random conversations. I know that just sounds terrible, but believe me, I have 90,000 people, 80 to 90,000 people on my email list. I have people wanting me to promote their books all the time, and they want to do a partnership with me. That's not how we work, right? I'm giving you the absolute best offer I can. So if you want to have a conversation with one of our team members to talk about this and get your questions answered, the only way to do it is to put this $997 deposit down, and then to have that conversation and see if we're a fit and to lock this in. When the challenge is over, then the offer is done, everything's off the table, and everything comes down from the group, okay? So, by the way, I show my clients how to do all this stuff. Like, what I'm doing is, in one sense, not rocket science. It may feel like that because there's a lot of moving parts, but it's not rocket science, and you can do this exact thing. In fact, one of the people that I want to have on, I hope I can, is Gina Lester, who joined the last challenge. This is like 2.5 months ago. Gina has already started her own challenge and has made thousands of dollars. Not only that, her book, she completed her book. in the last 3 months, launched her book, and in the first week of launching her book, got 2 clients from the book that paid her $28,000. She doubled all of her investment in the very first week of launching her book. So this is something that you can do, and we have training and we'll show you exactly what you need to do that. But this is how you get started, right? You get started by taking this step. It is the only way, okay? publishpromoteprofit.com/enroll. That is where it is. Let me go to it one more time. And if you could, Bob, as well as Austin, whoever's in the group, if you guys could just copy and paste that link, I would super appreciate it. And I'm going to do that for the VIPs as well. Okay. So what questions do you have? Oh, I got one more bonus. Got one more bonus to share with you. Oh, doggone. There was one more thing I wanted Amy to share. All right. I'll share it. Amy's already gone. So Amy got her speaking chops learning from one of the best in the business. His name is Michael Port. Michael is a friend of mine. He's a New York Times bestseller. Any of my VIPs heard of Michael Port? Anybody on Facebook heard of Michael Port? Type in the chat box if you have. He's a New York Times bestselling author. Okay, it looks like a couple have, which is great. And he runs something called Heroic Public Speaking, which is the #1 speaker training in the country. And Amy joined it, full price, joined it, and went through his whole process. And that's where she got her speaker training. Well, Michael and I started a partnership together. We do a couple of different things. And Michael and I, we offer each other's membership clientele, specific clientele, the opportunity to work with each other. And so Michael's Heroic Public Speaker Training, which is an 8-week course, and you will fly out to his training. He has like a 20,000 square foot facility in New Jersey. You'll fly out to it and spend 2 days with Michael and his wife, Amy, and be trained with 50 to 70 other world-class speakers. This costs $3,500 if you were to buy it. However, you get it as a bonus, okay? It actually says secret bonus 3. It's secret bonus number 2 because I've mixed up the bonuses, but this is something that you're going to get. So any of you that do want to be a speaker and you need some chops, you need to learn some of how to deliver great from the stage, then this training, which is a $3,500 value, is my gift to you. And you will get that. Now, obviously, the next time that you fly out, Michael does these about 8 to 12 times a year. However, due to COVID, the schedule's changed a little bit. So it might not be until next year that you actually get to fly out. However, that probably works out well with getting your book done and needing to kind of take the next step. So as I said, this is a real value of $3,500, and that is my gift to you guys. So I need to know if you have any questions. I need to know if there's anything that I can answer for you. Let me just look in the chat box. VIPs, anything I can answer for you, please let me know. Otherwise, and on Facebook, if you have any questions, let me know that. Let's see. Esty says, as a travel agent, I'd love to book everyone's tickets. I love that. Great. Of course. Why not? And why not be like the BSP travel agent? I mean, we don't have one of those. I'd love that. I mean, if you're willing to do that, I mean, it's not always luxury travel, but I'd be happy to promote you for that. Esty says, can you talk more about printing and worldwide distribution? Do you use Ingram Spark or others? Also, does BSP work as a speaking agency, or do we do that ourselves? What's your criteria for taking a complete book? Do you have submission guidelines? So 3 questions there. Number 1, we use Amazon primarily. That's where the worldwide distribution comes in. It is not Ingram Spark. However, we will publish a client's book on Ingram Spark as well for an additional fee. It's an additional $1,000, Esty. The reason is because it's a whole different set of formatting that needs to be done. And you can have a hardcover done using Ingram Spark. So, however, you don't get any real more distribution than you do with Amazon. So for an extra $1,000, we will do Ingram Spark as well as everything we do on Amazon. It's an additional platform. That's number 1. Number 2, BSP does not work as a speaking agency. I am trying hard to find a company that will. It's just out of our wheelhouse. Instead, I train my clients to do exactly what Amy did. And you can do exactly what Amy did. Right now, I have a pseudo partnership with a speaking agency. But it's really it's more a collaboration, and it's not set in stone. So I don't have anybody for you at this moment, but it is something that I am always on the hunt for and trying to find. By the way, just so I say it, I'm always looking for things for my clients that, whether it's something I sell or something I just direct them to, I know what you want because I've been asked it 1,000 times. So I'm always looking for these things to try to add value and help my clients past, present, and of course, future. As far as criteria, I can't tell you an exact criteria for our book, but here's what we do. For those of you who have a book that's done and you don't need the full $14,997, you just need the $79.97, you will submit that to us, and then we will go through it. We will do a spot check of your book. And if we find, a bunch of grammatical errors, spelling errors, errors with structure, et cetera, then we're going to send it back to you, and you're going to have a couple of options. Depending on how bad it is, the option will be for you to redo it yourself, find an editor, or we will give you as close to cost as possible for editing packages, et cetera. So, we will do a check because we want to publish something that's good. We want to publish something that's good for you and good for our reputation as well. So I can't tell you what the pure guideline is, but we're gonna review all of your books for those of you that have one ready and that's coming to us. Okay. Jackie says, it says 20 books, then you order more through you. You don't order any more through us, Jackie. Everything is done through your platform on Amazon. So there are two ways to get more books. The number one way is you can order directly from Amazon at cost, and it's about $3 a book, depending on color images and that kind of thing. And you can get 500 to 2,000 books at a time from Amazon for that cost. The other way is we have a fulfillment company that we work with very directly. They have fulfilled 20,000 books for me personally, not to mention my clients. Mike Fredericks is his name, Corporate Color Printing, and I will make a personal invitation between you and them so you get to know them if you want Mike to handle it. And it's about the same cost as Amazon is. We use them for all of our funnel stuff. Okay. So we don't use Amazon for our funnel stuff. We use a fulfillment company, and Mike is our fulfillment company. Judy says, what is considered a bestseller? This is a great question. I always get this, and so I want to answer this. And then we'll be done. I'll share you what the homework is. So a bestseller is something that that an outside list or agency tells us. We do not tell you that you are a bestseller. We inform you that Amazon is telling us that you are a bestseller. So with Amazon allows every author to choose two categories, okay? And those categories are not, underwater basket weaving. There's about 500 categories that, 18 million books reside in. So there are no tiny categories. And Amazon will track the bestseller status, which is nothing but a pure competition. Which books are getting downloaded and or sold more in any given hour of the day. And so when we do a launch, we are tracking your statistics on your book site on Amazon every single day and screenshotting it. And we're doing that not just in the United States, but in Canada, Australia, New Zealand, throughout the UK, Europe, et cetera, all over, even Japan and Spain and non-English speaking countries. And then at the end of the week, because we want you to be a bestseller for the entire week, we will send you a list of all of your rankings, and we will send you the images and screenshots from Amazon's own page that shows that you are a bestseller. So a bestseller happens because you really do outsell or out-download all the books in your category on Amazon. It's just that simple. So hopefully that makes sense and that answers it for you. Okay, let me give you tomorrow's homework and beg you to do it, because tomorrow may be the $10,000 done for you package giveaway. Number one, I want you to pick your speaking plan. Just tell me what it is. I gave you 7 different ones. Which is yours? Most of you will pick speak for a fee. I get it. Totally fine. Number 2, and this will take you more time. I want you personally to start your targeting research. Okay. I want you to start your research. Okay. What does that mean? That means that you think about, here's what I would speak on based on my book and the content of my book. And you start doing the research for regional conferences, associations, trade shows, national conferences, associations, trade shows, or private companies and corporations. In other words, all the stuff that I laid out to you on how to pick your target, I want you to start doing that. And that means that using the yellow pages adage, you're just going to let your fingers do the walking on Google, and you're going to start doing searches, looking for companies on this topic that are doing events, conferences, associations, trade shows. Okay. Homework number 1, pick your kind of speaking plan. Number 2, I'm assuming that you want to speak for a fee. So start your research. Okay. So that is it for today. Let me go off the PowerPoint for just a second. This is where you need to go if you want to put down the $1,000 deposit, $997 to be exact. publishpromoteprofit.com/enroll. I'm going to go ahead and just put that in the group. And if you guys could also do that on Facebook, I would greatly appreciate that. And this is what you'll see. You'll put your information in. This is a $997 refundable deposit, refundable for any reason, either a reason from us or a reason from you. Then you will be directed immediately afterwards to fill out a form. Again, Sylvia, Jerry, Marcus, Jackie, James, Judy, Jim, Dr. Allen, Gail, Esty, all of you, before I ever started today, have already joined. So welcome and congratulations. And also congratulations on taking advantage of the additional 24-hour bonus. For the rest of us, now is your time to jump on. I will keep this offer open until the challenge is done, which it either ends tomorrow or it ends Tuesday, and I'll keep you posted on that. Okay, so I don't see anything else. If there is something urgent, then I'm happy to answer it for you. Oh, Anita says that she just joined. Wonderful. Jackie says they get it. So, yep, that's right. That's the bonus if it was done before the time was up. And Luba, extra credit. No extra credit, Luba. Just pick your speaking plan and start the research. You know what? I'm gonna make a call right now because there is one more thing that I wouldn't mind you doing, but I've already seen some people have jumped off Facebook. Let's leave it at that. And there may be an additional day, which will mean extra credit on the last day. But that's all I'll say about that. Okay, I'll leave you in a little suspense. So Amy is awesome. Thank you again, Amy. Thank you so much, everybody, for being here on a Sunday. I hope this was helpful to you. Tomorrow is big. Tomorrow is going to be part 2. I'm going to be teaching directly on how to start your own consulting and coaching practice. I'm going to share with you a lot of specifics on that. There's going to be a lot shared about using online media to grow your business. So I think that will be really fun as well. So using Facebook, using Instagram, using webinars, using challenges, etc., which I obviously love and am not half bad at it. So that's all I got for you today. You guys have a great day. Enjoy the US Open. If you like that kind of thing, I can't wait to go see it with my buddies. That's what I'm going to do right now. Talk to you tomorrow.